Once, long ago, in the heart of a burning desert, there lived a tribe of men known as the Wolves of Sand. They were called wolves because they lived and died by the law of tooth and claw. They did not sow, they did not reap, they did not trade. Banditry was their only craft. They dwelled on the edge of nothing, in that vast space between states, and fed upon the lifeblood of the desert's veins, the trade caravans that dared cross their lands. They took what was not theirs. They lived by the hunt, and all who knew them whispered their name with fear.
We've taken all their gold!
The Wolves of Sand. The fiercest, most brutal tribe beneath the sun. Among them was a young warrior called Jundub, the Black Wolf. He was strong, fearless, honest, and all believed that one day he would be chief of the clan. But Jundub did not dream of crowns or thrones or glory. He did not wish to lead. He wished to understand. He could not walk in the pack's shadow, nor follow blindly behind the alpha's howl. He asked questions, and in a pack, questions are dangerous things.
Do you understand the severity of your actions?
During the raids of his youth, Jundub saw how the spoils of blood were divided. The finest treasures, gold, silver, animal hides, and jewels, were laid before the feet of cold, stone idols, offerings to silent gods who never spoke. But Jundub saw more than the plunder. He was a warrior who was not willing to serve lifeless idols and heartless leaders. He saw the faces of the broken, the poor, the weak, and so his heart began to stir. A storm rose within him. Where is the justice for the weak? Is this all there is, to take and to be taken from? His questions became chains around his own heart. They silenced him first and isolated him eventually. For a wolf who questions the pack is a wolf alone. And so Jundub became the lone wolf, a stranger among his own kin. Under the cold, endless stars, his thoughts grew louder, greater than who am I? Why are we here? Is there no truth in this world? But his words were met with silence and scorn. So he left. He turned his back on the raids, on the idols, on everything he had ever known. He sought an honest life, a poor life, but one of peace. He became a shepherd, tending to sheep in the silent hills, a lone wolf watching over a gentle flock. Years passed, and then a whisper came, carried on the wind from a far-off city. The sanctum. They spoke of a man there, a man who, like Jundub, defied the old ways, a man who stood against the stone gods, who spoke for the poor, who spoke for justice, who spoke of one God. This was strange. A man whose words echoed the very questions that had burned in Jundub's heart since boyhood. A spark, ignited in the darkness. Jundub called for his brother. His voice trembled with hope. He asked his brother, who was a poet himself, to go to the sanctum. Find this man. Hear his words. Is he just another poet? Bring me news. His brother went across the sands to the great city and returned with tidings. He told Jundub that he has seen the man. He isn't a poet. He can't even read or write. But he speaks truth. A man of noble heart. He commands good and forbids evil. Jundub waited, his heart a dry well, thirsting for rain, but his brother had nothing else to say. But it was not enough. It could never be enough. So the lone wolf made his choice. If the truth would not come to him, then he would go to the truth. He left his flock. He left the quiet hills. And he walked into the desert once more, toward the whisper, toward the sanctum, the oldest city, toward the answer to a lifetime of questions. After days of walking through dust and silence, Jundub reached the sanctum, the oldest city upon the earth. He asked no one, trusted no guide, for he knew that the city's watchful eyes might seize him before he could meet the sacred man. So he waited, hungry, hidden, living only on water and faith. Then, one day, a young man found him. He offered Jundub food and shelter. In time, when trust was earned, Jundub asked softly of the one he sought. The young host warned him, "The one you seek, they fear him here." But Jundub had not crossed the burning world to turn back now. That night, he was led to a secret house, and there, for the first time, he saw the sacred man. The moment their eyes met, the storms of a lifetime fell silent. Jundub's soul found what it had searched for beneath the stars. His first words were simple, eternal. Assalamu alaikum. And thus, the greeting of peace was born. Then, with tears in his eyes, he declared, "I bear witness there is no God but Allah, and I bear witness that Muhammad is his messenger and his servant." At dawn, his heart still blazing with truth, Jundub walked to the Kaaba. He stood before the people and cried out the words again, a lone voice against a city of idols. The mob fell upon him, striking, beating, raging. They would have killed him if a noble man had not stopped them, reminding them who he was. "He is of the tribe of wolves of Arabia. Harm him, and your caravans will know the teeth of his tribe." And so Jundub was spared. The prophet sent him back to his people to preach them the message of God. There, his words carried weight, for they knew his truth, his courage, his heart. Through his voice, the wolves of sand started reverting to one true God and his message. And not only his tribe, but their neighbor tribe too. And when Prophet Muhammad had called upon all the Muslims to gather at Paradise City, Medina, he went there with both tribes. There, Jundub became Abu Dhar Al-Ghifari, a man known not for his sword, but for his truthfulness and piety. It's said that the canopy of sky hasn't seen a man more truthful than Abu Dhar Al-Ghifari. He lives with the piety of Sa, son of Maryam. At many occasions he showed his unwavering loyalty to his faith. When the call came to march to Tabuk, a battle against the enemies, Jundub prepared. He had one camel who got sick. Still, the man took up the thousands of kilometers journey by foot. That's right. Others rode ahead, but he walked behind, alone in the desert, dust and light upon his face. And when he reached the army's camp, Prophet smiled and said, "May God have mercy on Abu Dhar. He walks alone, he shall die alone, and he shall be raised alone, and he will enter paradise alone." Those words hung in the wind, a prophecy, a truth, a destiny which was fulfilled many years later, when years passed and the prophet had returned to his Lord. Empires rose beneath the banner of faith. Jundub watched as the wealth of conquest filled the hands of the few. He saw palaces rise while the poor still slept beneath the stars. And he spoke again. He stood before the rulers of his time and reminded them of the days when they owned nothing. His voice was steady, fearless, the same tone that once echoed in the desert when he defied the idols. They called him a loner again, a troublemaker. So eventually he was sent away. We don't know he was sent by force or he chose self-exile. He journeyed into the wilderness once more, the same desert that had witnessed his beginning. There, in the solitude of Rabata, he lived with his wife, his animals, and his prayers. He owned almost nothing, and when his final hour came, there was no one to carry his body, no one to bury him, until travelers passed by and fulfilled the burial he was foretold about. Thus, the prophecy of Tabuk came true. He died as he lived, free and true to what he believed. He wasn't a king or a general. He was a simple man, a man who heard a truth and let it change him completely. It's true that he died alone, but his legacy will remain with us forever. He reminds us that when we see a wrong, we stand, even if we are the last one standing.